Alright, Greenleaf fans. Now, this video, I'm glad I waited to kind of spread it out due to the fact that I did not expect or predict that my AJ or Young Man at Faith's Grave videos would do so well. Those videos alone have been bringing in countless views, new subscribers, comments from people I haven't seen comment on videos in a long time. So wow. But this video, I wanted to kind of let it marinate, for my thoughts and feelings about Greenleaf season 4, because if you are new to the channel, if you just tuned in, or if maybe this is your first video that you've ever clicked on this channel, this is my first time ever watching Greenleaf as it aired on television, doing my reviews, doing predictions, my episode breakdowns, pretty much my typical formula for just about every show I review on this channel here. But for this video, I'm just going to be doing my overall impressions of the series, not so much predictions. This is just me kind of doing like a recap slash giving my thoughts and feelings on what it was like watching Greenleaf for the first time. What was it, 10 episodes, right? The first 10 episodes of season 4. We have 8 more coming at some point during 2020. Don't know the return date just yet, but we left with some very, very, very important cliffhangers. It seemed like Grace's prayer or talk with God and the scenes that went on during it between all the different characters was something else. Like every time she would say like Charity or my parents or whatever, we would see what those characters were up to at the moment. And the thing about it is, in the midst of that prayer, where everything just seemed so hopeless, that's when the young man came out of the woods, and that just left us all confused, speculating, and excited for what was to come next. And what a way to end 2019's or Greenleaf's run in 2019. But going back to the beginning, episode 1, I just felt like, this show's kind of interesting. And I think around episode 3, that's when I started noticing the difficulty of doing episode reviews, because of the fact that we were switching scenes so frequently that I was taking notes that were consistently a full page to 1.5 pages, and then when I did my reviews, it was so confusing going back and forth between, okay, this character is here, but now they're on the phone with this person. So I remember around episode 5, I kind of switched things up where I would kind of review the episode in sections where I would just talk about each character and what they did, because it made it a lot easier. Because, oh, in this scene we had Grace and Charity talking, but then we switched over to these 3 different scenes, then we come back to these 2 talking, so I would have to kind of adapt to the script, if you will, which made me think on my feet. Was actually pretty interesting, kind of switch things up there. But I think my biggest question that I've gotten from fans over the 10 episodes was, hey Jeremy, we're glad to see that you're falling into the Greenleaf story well. You kind of adapted quickly to being 3 seasons behind, but you got some good thoughts. But who's your favorite character? Who's your least favorite character? And still, to the point of being new to the series, I don't really know how to answer that question. But if I were to say who are my least favorite characters in regards to when they're on the screen, it's like, oh great. And it doesn't mean I dislike them fully, but it's just like, their characters are just so one note. I want to say it is literally a toss between Carissa and Charity, but at least with Carissa, it's almost like, yeah, out of the 2, I think I dislike Charity more because of the fact that Charity is just so wishy-washy. Her stick this entire season so far has been the same. It's like, I want to show the family that I'm important too. I'm the one that's being kind of isolated and left out all the big plans. Like, I don't have a role in this family, and what I can bring to the table doesn't matter. So I'm going to sabotage everyone in order to be the one standing at the top. But then I think that was her. Like, yeah, she said it towards the end of episode 1, right? When Grace was able to get Jacob's job back, but not Charity. And then the next episode, we got the whole thing with her and Phil starting to work together. And then after that, that's where it just became so freaking annoying. The beginning of the episode, you know what? I don't think I can betray my family. And then to talk with Phil because she's been wrestling with God on this thing. And then after that, Phil says one or two things about, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, what's important and this and that. And then she kind of thinks about it. And then sometimes what Charity needs in order to help Phil kind of falls into her lap because she's loosely listening to a conversation because she walks into a room at the right time, allegedly, or she just overhears something down a hallway. But in any case, at the end of the episode, she gives Phil the information. And then in the next episode, wait, don't use the information I gave you. And then she talks with her mom. She talks with her dad. It's the same damn thing every episode. So even when it got to the point of the mid-season finale where she got dumped by Phil and is broken up about it, I know some people are like, man, Jeremy, I bet you were grinning ear to ear. I'm like, not really. We all saw it coming. We knew Phil was using her. Now she just looks stupid. And to be honest, I really didn't have a reaction to it other than, yeah, we saw that coming from a mile away. So with that being said, Charity's definitely my least favorite because the one thing I can say, she is consistent in terms of her annoying personality. But Carissa, on the other hand, I think what really made her stand out between those two, Carissa and Charity this season, was the fact that her her selfish activities led to another mystery in regards of, did the Greenleafs kill in order to get the ownership of the house and estate they're on? So that leads into something to explore in the back half of the season. But other than that, her whole stick was, Jacob, we need to get out of this house. We got to get out of this house. And cheating, getting chlamydia. That's it. But other than that, if not for her having an affair and everything, without that leading to the mystery about the deed for the house, yeah, I dare say that she might be slightly above Charity. But then again, she did get bitch slapped by Lady May. So yeah, no, actually, that's another good point. Carissa, as selfish as she is, what was it, that ending of the episode where she gave May that letter because she thought they were moving out and then literally told her off, even though it was disrespectful, she did make some valid points. So in a way, kind of like, when I was talking about in my Oval video, how Gail and Victoria are kind of very similar, and that's probably why they don't get along so much, because she can see a lot of herself in her child. Even though Lady May isn't Carissa's blood mother, those two are actually pretty similar when you think about it. It might seem like Lady May has the more dignified and righteous reason for the method behind her madness seems more righteous. It's all about getting the church back, but at the same time, sometimes I guess that's one thing the Greenleafs really have to learn about, and that's about acceptance and moving on. Because yeah, the Greenleafs are being booted out of Calvary, but Lady May wants to get it back at all costs. Carissa was Carissa and Jacob pretty much were booted out of their own house that they bought, and now they're back in the Greenleaf estate, and Carissa wants out. So she wants to regain what she lost, just like May wants to regain what the Greenleafs have lost. So sometimes it's just a matter of knowing when to cut your losses and move forward. So I feel like that's something that the young man at the grave probably made reference to when he said everything has an expiration date. And Bishop kind of was on the sidelines for most of this season. It just seemed like anytime he walked into a room, or if he had plans to tell someone or do something with someone, he would come at just the wrong moment because they were pissed at something else that had happened. So yeah, Bishop, he's pretty much, imagine him being a star athlete, obviously in this situation, the pastor in the pulpit, but now he's been benched or he's retired, and he wants to kind of relive the glory days because of the fact that he's just sitting around at home while everybody else is doing, stuff. So it's almost like he's kind of like, a wounded lion trying to find his way back into the leadership role. May's the one who's pretty much behind the scenes telling everyone what they need to do in order to get the church back, throwing anyone under the bus if necessary. Well, not really, because of the whole not using blackmail, hence why she went off on Bishop in regards to Connie. And then Corinne, obviously, I've already done a video about her being maybe a key to bringing out harmony and hope, and that video did pretty well. Even the actress portraying Corinne actually retweeted the video and even hit me up on Instagram, so that was pretty cool. If I'm correct, she's like the first person from Greenleaf to actually contact me, so that was awesome. And Grace and Sophia and Zora were pretty interesting because it seemed like those two have switched personalities almost. Like Sophia's the one who, well, obviously kind of rubbed me the wrong way at the beginning of this season. Like, I'm not lying for you and you're a hypocrite and everything. And basically not being on good terms with her mother. And then feeling like an outsider when she returned from college a couple of times. And Zora is the one who's getting back into the word and, helping out at the church the best way she can. So it was kind of weird to see those two switch dynamics after, 3 seasons. Let's see. Other than that, Grace, obviously, do I even need to say anything? Because we've talked so much about it. Grace dealing with the pressures of trying to do what she can to keep the church from falling completely out of the Greenleaf's hands, but then also getting the surprise of her son contacting her and juggling so much. I'm surprised that she can even, stand, given the fact there's so much pressure is putting on her, and it's almost like if anything goes wrong, everyone's trying to blame Grace for it. So I don't even know. But yeah, talking about Phil, no need, because honestly, if you talk about Charity, then that's an extension of Phil's character. And to be honest, this season proved that, Phil isn't as informed as he thinks he is, because people like even Judy, even Bob's own daughter, isn't fully aware of what her dad's plans are. So when it comes down to it, Phil is a non-factor. And I stand by what I said in my other video about how even, if Calvary is torn down, even if it's rebuilt as the H&H headquarters or flagship church, Phil in a pulpit doesn't mean it's going to put butts in the congregation. Because yeah, you might have been a pastor. What do you say? Like 20 some years he's been following Bob's lead. He wants to get back into the pulpit. That doesn't mean you're able to relate to the people. We saw how awkward Bob was when he was trying to talk with the people in Calvary in episode 1 was it, or episode 2, where he's like, hey, look at all the beautiful hats. Yeah, the hats. And it's like, so yeah, Phil and Charity, obviously she's not going to be there, but if Phil and Charity both ended up in a pulpit, Phil head pastor and then Charity is AP, that doesn't mean you're able to really bring in people the way Bob wants to. So yeah, so what, Phil marries Bob's daughter as he wants him to do, but that doesn't mean that it's going to result in the numbers that you want when it comes to people coming to the church. So yeah, I think another thing that really brought me joy this season was the fact that, unlike some other shows I review, actually seeing characters make decisions that lead to consequences rather quickly, as opposed to stretching it out for an extended amount of time, such as Grace lying to the police, Carissa pushing Jacob to sell the land and finding out it is being bought by a company that's pretty much funded by Harmony and Hope. And then on top of that, just the fact that any character who makes a decision it's almost like, what is it? The path to hell is paved for good intentions. Things that make it seem, people who seem like they are doing the right thing for other people are honestly only doing it for themselves, such as, May telling Bishop not to go to Atlanta to preach for, what was it, like one service because the guest pastor wasn't able to make it. But then he decides not to do it after some time of debate because he figured, okay, you're right, let's go ahead and focus on Calvary. But then May makes a decision herself to take Bob Whitmore's deal. Bishop, she tells Bishop, who isn't pleased about it, and now it turns out that she's been pushed aside for Phil due to the fact that, Bob is like, fine, marry my daughter and you can get that position. So it just seems to me that despite May trying to get the church back, she isn't above doing what it has. She isn't above, doing somewhat what she tells other people not to do in order to get that goal. But now all it's done is cause even more cracks in the family's thin foundation that's been there since the beginning of season 4. And if you want to go even further, I will say we got some redeeming points for May for telling the truth about, her not knowing about Mac and, explaining to people what happened between her and her father growing up. So that definitely gave some character points there. So I guess the back half of season 4 is really the family trying to deal with what's going on in their own lives, because that was Lady May's whole pitch. It's like, we can't get the church back unless our house, hearts, and minds are all in order. And going off the ending of season 3, I thought that was really about season 4, the family coming back from losing the church, fixing their own issues before trying to get Cavalry back. But it seems like there are even more problems and divisions within the Greenleaf family now than ever before. And with a ticking time clock of what, like 7 days before Cavalry is torn down, I don't know what they can do. I don't even know what they can do, especially with Grace stepping out as well. You tell me. But overall, guys, oh yeah, I also forgot who's my favorite character. These characters are all flawed as hell, to be honest. I want to say, and going off what I said before about all these characters being flawed, it seemed like every character had something blocking their perspective. Like Grace, for Grace it was AJ, for May it was getting the church back, for Charity it was to get the AP role, for Bishop it was kind of reclaiming some glory, for Jacob, you know, obviously his thing with Dante, you know, Carissa saw that as a blind spot where it seemed like she was being ignored because Jacob was focusing on other things, and the list goes on. I honestly don't know if I have, well, let me just put it this way. I may not have a favorite character per se, but in terms of some of my favorite things from characters, obviously Lynn Whitfield's delivery of Lady May's dialogue. She just has some incredible one-liners and, you know, monologues. Grace's determination, definitely that's appealing. That's really all I got to say on that. I'm sorry. I know it's a bit of a cop-out, but it's easier for me to say that, yeah, Carissa and Charity, but probably Charity is my least favorite character, but I don't think I have a favorite character yet. Maybe by the end of the season. So, with that being said, well, maybe the young man at the grave is my favorite because his less than 2-minute appearance brought so much traffic to the channel that I really can't argue with that. But with that being said, guys, that's kind of my overall thoughts on Greenleaf Season 4 so far. I'm enjoying the show. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the back half of the season. And I am definitely thankful that I took the advice of so many people to start reviewing this show. So with that being said, let me know what you hope to see in the back half of Season 4. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit that bell notification icon. That way you don't miss out on any new Greenleaf content. And trust and believe, I am just as excited as everyone else to see exactly what's going to go down during the back half of the season. Not to mention we finally get a return date and a trailer. So thanks so much for tuning in and the support on the Greenleaf videos. Because trust and believe, if these Greenleaf videos didn't do well after reviewing the first 10, I probably would have dropped Greenleaf from my review roster. So because of the views and the likes in the comments, obviously it seems like Greenleaf isn't going to be leaving this channel anytime soon. So thanks so much once again, and I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving, and strap in because this is the final week of November.